of different things happened all at once.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome here to the launch pad and our live launch coverage of Test Flight 1 of Gilmour Space's Eris rocket, set to launch today from the Bowen Orbital Spaceport in Australia. If it's your first time here, though, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here at the launch pad, and here at TLP, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow because we believe that space is better together. And first and foremost, we want to thank Aussienaut, Josh, for this incredible live view from down in Australia and his permission to broadcast today's stream. Definitely go and check them out. Credit all to them. Excited to hopefully work with him more in the future, but more on that in future broadcasts. We are approximately 22 minutes away from what we think is the current T0. We, of course, are awaiting updates from what we can find on social media. Gilmour Space being pretty quiet, with only really the updates coming from their CEO via LinkedIn, of all websites, and things, and a few other official confirmations along the way. So we're keeping an eye out for those. So if you hear anything, make sure you drop those in the chat. But as always, as we get started, take a moment, let us know in the chat where you're watching from. While you do so, take a moment and engage that like button. It's free to do so, and it really does help us out. And share out the stream and invite people to join us as we count down to today's attempt of a launch of Eris from the launch vehicle. We got lots of people tuning in from all over the world. We're glad to have you joining us here. While you're doing so, as I said, let us know in the chat where you're watching from and answer in the poll in the chat. Do you think Gilmour Space will launch here today? Yesterday, their launch did have to be scrubbed due to wind limits. They kept getting hit by winds at the 4 to 5 kilometer altitude that were over the limit, and they actually went through all of their weather balloons that they had yesterday. So unfortunately, they really didn't have any option than to scrub, even though they had more time within their launch window. So we'll be keeping a close eye on all of the updates as we continue through today's broadcast, bringing you the latest of what we know as we count down to this attempted launch. We'll be answering your guys' comments and questions. You can send those in the chat by tagging me at the Launchpad, and I'll work on answering those live. On the right side of your screen is a live look at some satellite imagery coming in, looking towards the launch area. So a little bit of clouds to the south, but we're looking right on that coastline. There's some wispy clouds, but nothing too much that should cause too many issues for today. We've yet to see any update from the CEO as of today for the launch attempt, so we're waiting to hear more information about an updated T0 or anything on that. If you happen to be down in the area, though, and you're interested in becoming part of the TLP crew, definitely take a moment and engage the subscribe button and reach out to us on social media. We'd love to hear from you as we work to expand the team, bringing you guys live coverage of everything space from around the world. And again, we do believe that space is better together. So thanks again to Aussienaut and Josh for allowing us for the rebroadcast. Josh is the one running today's camera for us down at the Bowen Orbital Spaceport. Keep in mind, Josh is shooting a quite a distance away. This was the closest that she could get to the launch site that she'd actually be able to see the pad. This orbital launch spaceport has a kind of a unique thing that it's actually set in a bit of a bowl. So if he were to get closer, which he could get quite a bit closer, you wouldn't actually see the rocket on the pad until it's cleared the tree line in flight. So Josh made the decision to get a little bit higher, a little further away, and works with the cameras that he's got to get us this view of the live conditions down there. And you can see off in the distance that rocket out on the pad. Now, yesterday, we were able to see some really good signs of the propellant loading with clouds around the vehicle, so we'll keep an eye out for those as well as we are running towards what we think was the initial T0 that was running here today. So we'll be keeping a close eye on how that proceeds through today's timeline. As I said, though, if you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat by tagging me at the Launchpad, and I'll work on answering those live to the best of my ability while we continue through today's broadcast. We've got lots of people tuning in from all over the world. We'll give some shout outs here. Lots of people tuning in from all over the world. We've got RWB watching from Lincolnshire in England. We got Ben in Hotlanta. Welcome. We got Aditya watching from India. Welcome. Noah's watching, as always, from the northeast of Minneapolis in Minnesota. Welcome. Glad to have you. Perem Jensen's watching in Denmark. We got Stratoblaster in eastern Pennsylvania. Good to see you, Stratoblaster. It's been a bit. Keith's in Upminster, UK. We got GS in London, England. Welcome. David's in Queensland. We got When Pigs Fly in Scotland. Ghost Hunters in England. David's in Queensland as well. Lots of people tuning in from all over the world, and we're glad to have you joining us live here. As I said, you can keep sending in those questions in the chat by tagging me at the Launchpad. If you hear any updates, you can drop those in the chat as well, and we'll work on answering those while we continue through today's broadcast. This is the first of hopefully 2 launches that we'll have happening today. The first is the Eris Test Flight 1, and later tonight we have Starlink 10-29 launching from Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. We hope you'll come back and join us live for that. And looking forward in the week, we got a GSLV launch tomorrow from India, Starlink 13-4 tomorrow as well, followed up by an Electron. The Electron we probably won't have launch coverage for, as it is one of their haste vehicles, which they do not provide live feeds for. Looking forward in the week, we got SpaceX Crew 11 targeting Thursday morning, and we have New Shepard NS-34 on Sunday. If you want to stay up to date with the latest of the launch schedule, head over to tlpnetwork.com. You can click on that launch button, and we keep you up to date there with the latest on the launch schedules. We also include on our mission briefings where you guys can see the launch window, so you can have a good idea on whether today, like a launch on a certain day, is got a certain window, or if it's an instantaneous launch window. Catching up on the chat. Some people joining us that hopefully will get off the ground today. What happened yesterday? So yesterday they ran as much of the timeline as they could, but unfortunately they got hit by the winds at that 4 to 5 kilometer altitude mark. That ultimately just pushed them outside their launch availability, and then they actually had issues where, well, not issue, but they actually ran out of weather balloons that they would have for the day. They can, launch so many, and they launched their last one and were still out of the conditions that they were going to be able to launch in. So they're back at it here again today. A little bit earlier, we obviously were live last night, and now here we are live again. So hopefully we'll have a better chance of a launch happening here today. So the rocket's in a bowl a little bit, so it's kind of like the land just kind of bowls down a little bit. Cappy Cross, greetings to all, and prayers for a successful launch shortly from Hudson, Florida. Welcome, it's great to have you here. Cascades watching from southern New Mexico, welcome. It is a busy week ahead, RWB, and we'll have live coverage of almost everything this week, so we're excited to have you guys here. We got Gary watching from Northern California. We got Saad in Pakistan. Sorry if I said that wrong. Hoop balls in the Atlantic Ocean. You must be on a cruise ship or a ship. Welcome. Maybe you're using Starlink to connect in. We got Joe in the northeast of the UK. Welcome. 92 Calamero is watching from Switzerland. Tesla Superchargers at Cape Canaveral. We got Scott in Emporia, Kansas. Welcome. Great to have you all joining us here. We are looking at approximately 14 minutes or so from what that was initial launch time that we had heard. But we are waiting to hear if there's any updates from their CEO or from Gilmour Space. This is one of those things that we may be kind of just playing it by ear. We'll definitely go from there. I think we had a little bit of a buffer there. Sorry about that. We should be back. As some of you know, we just moved back our big studio from Florida back up here to Canada. So we are working on some of our systems, getting them all upgraded while we wait for the rest of the studio to arrive on the truck in the coming weeks. So lots of upgrades happening here at our TLP and now HQ and studio up here in Canada. I'm going to take a couple minutes and patch in Josh's audio, see if we hear anything in on his end. So we should be about 12 minutes away from that first T0 we think that they were targeting. But again, this is similar to some of the kind of early Starship stuff where we really don't get updates from the launch provider. We kind of are playing it by ear, and as this is a test flight one, we don't really know what to look for in the timeline. So this is very similar to very early Starship. So it's kind of fun, but it's a little bit more annoying because we're obviously not used to it. We like to know exacts, and we'll do our best to answer your guys' questions that you keep sending in the chat. Just make sure you tag me at the launch pad, and I will that flags it for me in our system so I can make sure that I'm answering those questions and don't miss them when the chat gets going crazy. But yeah, if you haven't yet, take a moment, let us know in the chat where you're watching from, and share out the stream. Invite people to join us. It's a big day for Gilmour Space, and we would love to have as many people here cheering on Aussienaut and Gilmour Space, both down there in Australia, for today's launch coverage.
All right, we're back again. All right. All right, welcome back to the live stream. So one of the latest updates I've gotten in the background. I'm being updated all the time, continuously in the background. The launch window now looks to be the launch window will open at 7:30. However, they're now targeting an 8 a.m. launch. So we're around about 39 minutes from now. So yeah, just to let you know that's happening. And it seems like the launch window might have changed. So there is a few more. Oh, no, not again. It's cut off. Hang on. All right, back again. So this morning is the morning for errors. So I'm getting a lot of errors for all over the place. Um, and I'm just going to answer some questions now. So, have we confirmed prop load? No. As you can see on the stream there, you can see the rocket perfectly in frame. That no, there's been no prop load just yet. So thanks very much for Parallax Space from Launch Heaven on their chat. Thank you very much for asking that. Rippity, Australia is basically the same size as America, just mostly desolate desert. It just needs more people. Not enough people doing it. Okay. Yeah, it is the size of America. It's slightly bigger, but anyway, well, let's not talk about that. And yes, our population is actually mostly on the outer rim, on the outer edges, so where it's actually closest to the coasts and all that sort of stuff. So, and yeah, we don't go into the middle of the desert because our desert wants to kill us. Unlike you guys, you just want to go into the desert and turn it into casinos. I don't understand that, but that's okay. So yeah, each to their own. But just letting you know that yeah, in the middle of Australia, our desert has been historically known to kill vast majority of people who go into it. So we don't go into it. We just live on the outer edge where it rains occasionally. So yeah, that's basically how the population works here in Australia, I believe. But I could be wrong. So I'm not making fun of anybody or anything like that. I'm just I'm being a pain in the butt. All right. So yes. All right. Audio reverb. Okay, I'm getting all sorts of complaints now that I'm getting reverb and all that sort of stuff. People couldn't hear me yesterday. So yes. I can confirm all American deserts have casinos. Java Aerospace. Yeah, sorry, I haven't put that one on screen. That's pretty funny. Hang on, sorry. That's worthy. That's worthy. Sorry, this is what I'm giggling at in the background. By the way, just to let everyone know, I've been here since 5 a.m. So yeah, it was still dark, and I was setting up my torchlight. So if I seem a little bit out of my head, yeah, I am. I guess it's been a long morning. It was a long day yesterday, and it's been a long morning already, and it's not even time yet. So all right, let's have a look. I'll swap over to the other Q&A. Let's have a look. The Q&A on the Aussienaut stream. All right, mate, what do you guys do for breakfast? Me? I ate a granola bar. It's not the most interesting thing. It was on. I don't normally eat granola bars. It was on special. So in other words, it was discounted, and I just went, yeah, I'll have one of those. I got a box of them the first time around in Bowen, and I'm still going through the box because they're not my favorite. But I don't like I don't like wasting food. So they're dry and they're not great, but I eat them anyway because I don't like wasting food.
And if you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. We are now about 33 minutes away from that updated approximate T0 for the first test flight of the Eris rocket from Gilmour Space. You're looking at a live view of the a live view of the Bowen orbital spaceport in Australia, where the rocket is out on the pad, ready to go for today's flight. Hopefully the wind conditions will persist and be good enough, not persist, but be good enough for today's launch opportunity here today. Now, as always, if you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat by tagging me at the launch pad, and I'll work on answering them live here with the launch pad. You were listening in there a little bit earlier to some of Josh's commentary. Josh is Aussienaut, who's down there giving us this incredible live view from in the field. We appreciate him allowing us to broadcast that. Unfortunately, Gilmour Space has chosen not to do a launch coverage for their test flight, but hopefully we'll get some incredible views following the launch here today. I did max out Josh's audio. Keep in mind he is out in the middle of a field on a hill, so he's kind of got the best audio he can get there. So apologies there. I'll see if I can tweak it a little bit more on my end, but I don't have a raw connection there. Countdown's in the top right corner for those looking for it. L minus 31 minutes, 45 seconds, and counting. If you haven't yet, take a moment, share out the stream. Invite people to join us. We appreciate your support being here. We really do believe that space is better together, and we're glad to have you all here. Henry asked, what's the distance between the rocket and the camera? I believe Josh said about 12 kilometers is the distance that we're looking for, and it looks like we can see those clouds coming off the vehicle like we saw yesterday. So let's listen back into Josh for a little bit.
About to happen. It'll either happen in 2 minutes or it'll happen at 8 o'clock. There's one of the two things. I'm just going to leave you guys with the launch, and I'm just going to stand up and control the camera, just because we might be at that point where we're going to be we're going to be I don't know what's going on here, but yeah, this is weird. All right, so yes, I'm going to be let's have a look. Yep, there's something happening on the side. I'm just going to go back and I'm just going to control the camera just in case this thing decides to go in 2 minutes' time. Just a second. Yeah, I'm just going to address some stuff that has been.
And if you're just joining us, welcome. We are now possibly imminently away from launch, or possibly 28 and a half minutes away roughly from launch. We are now in the launch window. The original information we had was pointing that they were targeting the opening of the window. Josh, who's down there with Aussienaut, is giving us this incredible live view. Did hear that they may have pushed 30 minutes, and then now we're seeing all these clouds. So it's possible that the countdown clock in the top right corner of the screen isn't perfectly accurate for today's flight. It is something that we were just going to be playing by ear. It's very much just like a early Starship launch that we didn't really know what to expect or what we were looking for, but we're going to sit and wait and be thankful that we have this view. Very few people are out there, so we're thankful that Josh is, and we're excited to hopefully work with him more in the future. Definitely show him some support while we cover this the incredible launch, thanks to his live view. So thanks to Aussienaut for that. If we go to that new T0, it's about 27 minutes, but there's a chance they launch before that. We're keeping an eye out on all the channels that we saw updates come in from yesterday, to see if we get any sort of updates for today, but we've yet to see anything super official for today's the launch opportunity. So we will keep you up to date the most that we can as we continue to follow along with hopefully a launch of Eris here today. If you guys have questions, you can keep sending those in the chat by tagging us at the launch pad, and we will work on answering those live while we continue through today's broadcast here this afternoon.
That the payload for this particular launch will be a jar of Vegemite. So, yeah, they're going to yeet a jar of Vegemite into space. Again, I said the word yeet. Why am I doing this? What is wrong with me? So yeah, it's simply a jar of Vegemite. So that's the most iconic and Australian thing ever that they're going to is the payload mass simulator that's actually sitting on top of the rocket. So if anything today, one thing will happen is the rocket will launch. If it explodes or the launch fails or anything, then basically the rocket has a lot of sensors on it. What will happen is Gilmour Space will fail fast, fail forward. They'll learn from all of this as well. The other thing is too is if the flight termination system decides to activate itself anywhere on the on the launch, what will happen is the worst case scenario, if it activates, then basically that jar of Vegemite will be spread all over Bowen. Bowen will be Vegemite flavored. I've got to stop. I really do. I'm unhinged. So the top export here in Bowen is mangoes, and they are a really delicious mango. I'm not going to say what I said yesterday, but however, a Vegemite tasting mango. At least I think I'm funny. All right, cool. Remember that the the Eris rocket is a hybrid. It has 4 Cirrus engines on it. They're all hybrids. They're hybrid rocket engines. So there's a solid, and there is a liquid oxidizer that would actually be powering the first stage. There is one on the second stage, and there is a biprop on the third stage, bipropellant motor on the third stage called. I can't remember what it's called. Phoenix, that's it. Phoenix. So the Phoenix engine on the third stage, which will actually be propelling it to the jar of Vegemite to orbit. All right. So the prop load is still occurring. As far as we're aware, it is the wind is drifting. It's the into the rocket from our angle, which we can see. So that means that the gases that are actually sweeping in behind the rocket, so you can't quite see that the prop load clearly. So yeah, there's a little bit of an issue there. So we believe that prop load is still ongoing, and yeah, we're just waiting for launch. All right. So I've had a lot of people on the chat saying that they can see you venting. So the image is much clearer than it was yesterday, which is fantastic news. It's just we're going to be counting down to zero or T0 very, very shortly. So we've got another 20 minutes until that actually happens. You give off big dad energy? Thank you, I think. All right. So yes, this is Aussienaut. I am Aussienaut, and yes, I am bringing this to you. This to you live from Bowen. I'm on top of Mount Nut. So some other people have been saying that I'm about 12.3 kilometers away from the actual launch pad, and yeah, I was just a law of averages. I just do 12. So yes, I am sitting here live in Bowen, and I am literally just waiting for this launch, just like you guys are. So hopefully, with any luck, I'll get some more news that something will happen soon. However, the last update I had was in 19 minutes, the 8 a.m. this morning, which is 7:41 a.m. right now locally. That this will actually go. So yes, just a question. Yes, Junar. Yes, I am. I'm near. I'm not near Abbott Point. Abbott Point's. I can see it from where I am. However, it's off in the distance, directly behind this camera, which is why I'm pointing at it. And that exposure is really horrible. I'm going to have to fix that. All right. And so yeah. So the. It's near Abbott Point. So the launch site is actually near Abbott Point. So that's the coal terminal, which you can see out there. It extends a little bit. I think it's about 2-3 kilometers out into the ocean for ships to come in to load coal in and off to load coal. which is one of the main exports that Australia has, and more importantly, one of the main exports that Queensland has. And there, believe it or not, there's another coal terminal that's down a little way, down south of Mackay, about 40 kilometres south of Mackay, called Hay Point. Hay Point is the other major coal terminal that exists inside Queensland. So there's two. There's probably another one that I'm forgetting, but yes, Abbott Point is not very far. It's a quite a long terminal that's out there, that's literally for loading coal ships for our main export. All right, let's just have a look. All right, just waiting here. I see some side venting right now. All right, there's some stats for you. So, cumulus granatus, probably said that wrong. I apologise. Bowen Spaceport is 12.59 kilometres to the northwest of Bowen Airport on a heading of 302 degrees, if you want to look for it, with Google Earth or Google Maps. So yeah, if anybody wants to be a little bit of a nerd, they can go and have a look at that themselves. So all right, just keep that in mind. Now, just having a look at this rocket. There was some venting that was there. So they were obviously doing prop load. We'll just need to find out exactly what's happening. So I'll come back to you in just a minute. Okay, we are at the 10-minute mark. All right. Again, there's clearly before school because there's a lot more school kids here. So, yeah, all right, we're at the 10-minute mark. I've just got to work out how I'm going to pan and tilt this camera. So just give me a minute. Right. Okay. So I'm preparing to track the rocket. This will be done manually. So what I'll do first is just to guide you through a few interesting things that will happen on my side. I'll have to unlock the camera, obviously, and then I'll be tracking manually. So there'll be a fair few things that'll happen. And what I'll do is I'll also possibly pan out as well. So that zoom out, so that way I can actually get more of the rocket as it leaves. So it should be good. So a couple of things we need to watch out for is when the rocket ignites, the first thing you'll see is possibly a cloud of steam around the base. And that'll be the first thing you'll see. We won't actually hear any sound for about 5 to 7 seconds because we're about 12 kilometers away, 12.53 kilometers away. Someone wants to check my math on the speed of sound, they can, and let me know and update me. But yeah, look, at the moment, what I'm doing is standing off to one side, getting ready for T0. So yeah, so we'll see the cloud of steam will be the first thing. Then hopefully not long after that, we'll get so 5 to 7 seconds, we'll get the sound. The sound will come through. After that point, the rocket should lift once the sound starts hitting, because the engines need to be up and firing and at the correct thrust level. Once it's at the correct thrust level, the rocket will release, or it will be released. That means the rocket will take off. So it all happen in very quick succession. All going well, rocket will leave the pad and will start making its way to orbit, and then basically there's excitement guaranteed from that point onwards. So it could last as long as 30 seconds, which has been publicly stated by Adam Gilmour. It could last longer than that, and it could mean it could actually reach orbit. But once it's released and it's free, then basically it's up to the internal guidance computers and the flight controls to actually determine whether or not the rocket's on course, whether or not the rocket needs to be terminated. So again, as I said, everything will happen all at once. However, I'm here to grab it all, and hopefully we'll get the whole lot all at once. So the rocket has disappeared from screen at the moment a little bit, still sitting there, still there, and it's just not sitting in the sunshine at the moment because it's actually still quite an overcast day in Bowen at the moment. There is a bit of high-level cloud cover, and that won't interfere with the rocket launch at all. It's just the upper level winds that are actually at the 4 to 5 kilometer mark that was stated yesterday. That could be that could be detrimental to the health of the rocket. Again, if the winds are too high at that level, it's the equivalent of the rocket being hit with a sledgehammer, so which could actually push it off course. So we're coming down to T minus 5 minutes, and it should be all systems go. As far as we understand, we have seen venting. So things to recap on what's happened at the moment. We have seen venting. So that's basically when they load some of the cold fuels on board. When they load it, it goes into a warm tank. And as the tank fills up, it gets warmed. It will actually bleed off some of those gases. So you'll see that there's a white cloud when it condenses in the atmosphere, because it's colder than the atmosphere, surrounding atmosphere, and so the moisture gathers around that when it gets vented. Once that stops venting, that means they're pressing for flight, which means that they're very much closer to T0. So at the moment, we're just waiting and hoping that something will happen today, because I was here yesterday, did try this yesterday, but we'll see how we go today.
And if you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. We are approximately 2 minutes away from that expected T0 and attempted launch of the Eris rocket from Gilmour Space. Again, a huge thank you to Josh, the Aussienaut, for this incredible live view from down in Bowen Orbital Spaceport in Australia. Make sure you check him out, give him a subscription following today's launch. A huge thank you again for that live view. So we are now less than 2 minutes away from what we are hoping will be an incredible launch of Eris for the first time. We're going to turn Josh's audio back up so we can hear the sights and sounds of what's happening in the area. Remember, this is a test flight, the first test flight. Anything can happen, including a delay. Let's listen in and let's see that go, no go for launch in the chat.
So this is what we've heard. This is what I've just heard, is that it might be pushed out a little bit by another half an hour or so. But that is, I don't know if that's a rumor or what that is. But at the moment, I'm not taking the camera off the rocket, just simply because, and I'm not putting myself on camera simply because, I don't want to miss this, just in case they have a launch at 8 a.m., which is at T0, is what we're currently expecting at the moment. All right. Let's see if anything happens. Apparently the sound will arrive 36 seconds later. Not what I said. So thank you very much to the people up here who were helping me out when doing calculations and all that sort of stuff as well. So yeah, there's actually quite a gathering here this morning. Around about 50 to 100 people. So yeah, it's grown quite substantially rather than the 4 nerds that were standing up here to begin with. What's happened, I've just received an update that it looks like it's another 20 minutes out. So 8:20 this morning is what we're looking at. So time for me to stand down a little bit. Overexcited. I was really hoping it would happen right then, but yeah, that's right. I'm excited. I'm really pumped for Gilmour Space Technologies and their team. I'm really hoping that this is successful. I understand that with rocket delays, with rockets, there's always delays. It's part of rocketry. This literally is rocket science. So, all props to them and the team and everybody I've met at Gilmour Space. So yeah, acknowledgement to all of those guys. That they're doing a magnificent job. I know this seems frustrating. It's frustrating for people here to not see anything. I know it's frustrating must be frustrating for the employees as well. So, guys, props to you, the Gilmour Space team. You're doing an excellent job to try and even getting it this far, this close. It's looking like today might be the day. It's just a little bit delayed. So there's nothing wrong with the delay, and delays are better than booms. So in my opinion, but however, it's an exciting time regardless.
And if you're just joining us, you are listening in there to Josh the Aussienaut, who is down on site, giving us this incredible view of Bowen Orbital Spaceport in Australia. With a small delay, 20 minutes, we're now 17 minutes away from that estimated T0 for liftoff of Test Flight 1 for Gilmour Space. If you haven't yet, take a moment, engage that like button, share out the stream, invite people to join us. It really does help. It's just a very small delay, so don't go out anywhere. If you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat by tagging me at the Launchpad, and I'll work on answering those live to the best of my ability through today's broadcast. So make sure you engage that subscribe button so you never miss another live launch coverage from anywhere around the world. Because here at TLP, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together, and we're glad to have you joining us live here today. Lots of Panzer says lots of delays. That's what happens when you have a new vehicle. There are always lots of delays. Think of the very first starships and those hops and everything that we saw. We saw lots of delays there, and this is very similar, where we don't have an exact timeline of events of what we're expecting, and they're going to delay as much as they need to, even if that means days, to make sure that they have a hopefully successful first test flight. I saw a question coming in the chat from Astro Greg. Thanks for tagging me with your question. How big is the rocket? Great question. The Eris rocket stands, clicked on that poll and got your answer in, had your voice heard. How do you think this flight will go? If you want to expand on it, let us know in the chat. How do you think today's flight will pan out? How far into flight do you think it will make?
Sponsor, which is One Giant Leap Australia. Those guys are actually magnificent. They've helped me to get up here once more, helping me cover costs and things like that to help bring this live stream to you. All right. Let's have a look. All right. right. So every time I turn onto the chats, it takes a little while to load because Starlink prioritizes the live stream over the chats, which is fine. I'm quite happy with that. But yeah, every time I call up the chat, then basically, it takes a little bit for it to update. So how do we buy you a coffee? I'm not sure. Oh, look, I've got a Patreon page, so Aussienaut.com, patreon.com/Aussienaut. That's my Patreon page. There, you can subscribe if you wish. You can just do that. That's probably one of the ways to actually, one of the better ways to actually support me, I guess. You can go into sponsorship with me if you like, and you can reach out and support me by sponsoring me, cameras or equipment or anything like that, obviously to help me live stream a little bit better. But again, at 12.53 kilometers away, I don't think I'm going to really get much better view than this. But however, if there's a camera nerd out there who knows a particular unit or something that I should go and get myself, then I'll go and get it. It's because I'm at that point now where I need to go and invest in some newer equipment. All right, let's have a look. So that's Launch Heaven Media. That's up from their chat. So and they've got a question at the moment from 12 minutes ago. Will Eris make it to Miko? Just remember to vote on that one and determine whether or not it'll actually, if you think whether or not it will actually get to Miko. So that's main engine cutoff. Not sure if it will make that, but anyway, that's all right. Let's have a look here around. All right. Oh, there we go. There's the statistic that was up before. All right. Can't see any. Is the Aussienaut chat? Just having a look here. Okay. Do you think there's a strong chance it will get delayed again? Will I make it if I left early now? Muzzle Bear, I'm not sure, mate. Not sure at all. You've got 12 minutes. You think you can do early to Bowen in 12? All right. If you can, great, because you might need to lend your technology to Gilmour Space because, that's hypersonic. That'd be a massive win if you could do it in 12 minutes, mate. Just thought I'd highlight that. That was pretty funny. All right. Yes, there is humidity and such a distance. You probably can't get anything clearer, maybe a more stable mount. Yeah, look, I actually have some rocket tracking technology that I need to further develop. And at the moment, it's already been developed. What's needed now is metal 3D metal printing and all that sort of stuff. So yes, that has already been developed. It's very capital intensive. And again, as you know, I do this as a hobby. And One Giant Leap Australia Foundation is helping support this live stream. But yes, I actually have rocket tracking technology sitting at home. However, it needs some heavy upgrades. So the University of Technology Sydney, there were some students from there. Shout out to those guys if you're watching. They really helped me, and they've got a rocket tracking system that works extremely well. What's lacking at the moment is capital for me to actually develop that into something that's usable. That's perfectly honest, that's exactly what I've. So yeah, if you want to go and support me on Patreon, I can then work out how I'm going to get that for the next live stream and the next rocket launch. Because again, I have done this before. I've done this previously. I did this last year in the middle of the Nullarbor Plain for the high impulse launch through Southern Launch. That happened last year. That was in the middle of the in the Nullarbor Plain at the Kunaba test range. That's something I've done before, and that was all manually tracked. And from that, because it was manually tracked, that's where the university, a mate of mine, reached out and said, maybe some final year engineering students could help you out with some tracking technology. And they did. I've got it. I own it. However, the problem is that it's a very capital intensive exercise for me to do the necessary upgrades. All right. So everyone is tuning in apparently. Everyone is watching, and we're 10 minutes. So Do they plan to deploy the Vegemite? You know what? I don't know. All right, let's look at the hypothetical. So, providing the hypothetical works and that everything goes off flawlessly, yes, there could be a jar of Vegemite orbiting the Earth. I think it would still be attached to the third stage. I don't think they'd actually yeet it. Sorry, I've got to stop using that word. I don't think they'd eject it so that way it would actually be independently orbiting. I think it would still be attached to the third stage, providing everything works out and they actually make that orbital velocity. But that's the thing, is that I'm not sure if that's within their plans or their plan structure. All right, we are 9 minutes out. I'm going to go back to manning the camera once more. Thank you very much for there's some very interesting questions. And yeah, I'm going to once more get ready, get excited, and hopefully we will be seeing a launch happen shortly. All right, we are approaching T-minus 5 minutes. Once more, we're at that level. So, all right, I've been asked. Someone approached me and said, could you please do a shout out to Carol and Michael in the UK, watching from the UK. Hey, guys. Thanks very much for tuning in to Aussienaut and the live stream. All right, so we are at the 5 minute mark. Again, I'm standing next to the camera, so I'm not touching it. So that way you guys get a stable image. I've learnt my lesson from yesterday that don't touch until it's absolutely necessary. So, okay, so 820 is what we've been told. The wind here, just locally at ground level, top of Mount Nut, is dropped. There is no perceptible wind that I can see. It looks like it might be a little bit clearer at ground level, at least. As to what that looks like and the upper levels, we don't know. So the 4 or 5 kilometer mark that Adam was mentioning yesterday, that's Adam Gilmour, the CEO of Gilmour Space Technologies. He was saying that at the 4 to 5 kilometer mark, that's up vertically, that it was where the weather balloon was going. It looked like it was those upper level winds were exceeding their parameters, or violating launch parameters. So again, I don't have access to that. There has been a weather balloon tracker that I was introduced to that it only posts, it's open source data, but it posts it well after the fact because, I need a bit more reliable data. But at the moment, confidence is high, I would imagine, that this should go in a minute. No, not a minute. Sorry. In T-minus 3 minutes. So unless, of course, I get another notification from someone who might be able to provide some further insight, I'm sure it will go in the next 3 minutes, providing everything works out in the right way. Otherwise, might get another notification that tells me that it's once again been scrubbed. Okay, I'm not seeing anything at the moment. Now, the police are still here, which gives me a lot of confidence that something might happen. T-minus 2 minutes. All right, I'm not seeing anything just yet. We are at T-minus 45 seconds. All right. We're counting down. Okay, I might have to down the volume. If this thing starts to take off, then I'm going to have to, lower the volume. I might yell like a lot. All right. All right, we're past the T-minus 0. So we're T0. So T-minus 0, T0. So yeah, it looks like it might be a little bit delayed again. All of us are just waiting. Okay, it looks like it might be a possible hold. Not seeing any movement on the pad. And if this lasts much longer, I believe they might stand down for the day. All right, let's just wait, have a bit of patience, because even though it might have been that the clock has been reset, or the countdown timer has been reset, at the moment the rocket is now sitting again in shadow. There is now a sizable crowd up here as well, at the top of Mount Nut. There's at least 100 or more people. The police are still here, which also gives me a great level of confidence that something still might happen. But it looks like there might have been a bit of a delay. I'm not hearing anything. I haven't had any further notifications of something, if there's been any changes. Checking all my socials. Just a moment. Okay, so no further updates so far. I've checked all the social medias. I can't see anything else that's happening. I've also got people who are in part of my network who are checking as well, and trying to find out exactly what's going on at the moment. apparently I'm being drawn into doing shout-outs. So this one is to Bean at Lad Studios. Yeah, at Lad Studios. So there you go. All right. Apparently, yeah, didn't. Yeah, all right. Apparently, big fan. So, all right. So, thanks, man. Yeah, thank you very much for following along. I appreciate it. Yeah, and yeah, if you continue to, don't forget to continue to support me. You know, share this, all this sort of stuff. You know, get it all out there, all that sort of stuff. All right. So, I have received an update. So 8:33 is what I've been told. Whether or not that's correct or not correct, or yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so 8:33. Apparently, they're doing final checks, and it looks like it might go ahead at 8:33. But again, I'm not sure. Again, the police are still here, which gives me a lot of confidence that something is going to happen, because they left yesterday before it got called, and they basically one of the departing things they said on the way out was, "You'll find out," which is good. That was all. That gave me a lot of confidence. Anyway, all right. So 8:33 is looking like the new target time, and so we are less than 4 minutes. T-minus 4 minutes at this point. And to actually, before we get anything going, so we're going to see exactly what's going to happen here. Whether or not the rocket actually goes or not is another thing. Confidence should still be high. It is rocket science after all. And again, once more, I'm going to shout out to my sponsor, which is One Giant Leap Australia Foundation. Thank you very much, guys, for supporting me to be here and launch.
And if you're just joining us, you're looking at an incredible live view thanks to Aussienaut and Josh, who's down there at the Bowen Orbital Spaceport getting those updates. Less than 3 minutes from that new attempted T0, approximately. So we're going to listen back into the official or the feed here from Josh and listen into the official sights and sounds in the area where people have gathered to hopefully see the first flight of Eris from Gilmour Space. Let's see another go no go in the chat. If you haven't yet, take a moment, share out the stream, share it out again if you have, and make sure you've engaged that like button as we come down to just under 2.5 minutes from hopefully liftoff of Gilmour Space.
Someone has said the strongback has moved. I'm not sure it's a strongback because I believe it's a tower. It's just a launch tower, and I don't think it's movable at all. I could be wrong. However, yeah, they do actually have a launch tower over there. I'm not sure if there's a strongback, but we'll see in less than 3 minutes. 2 minutes 20. All right, I'm going to get close to the camera once more because if something happens, then I need to be able to capture it and maneuver the camera around. Again, as I said, I will zoom out and then that will allow me to track the rocket a little bit better, I believe. Everything will happen fast once we get to T0. Okay, I've had confirmation that strongback has been retracted. So it looks like we might be going. All right, excitement guaranteed, people. All right. I'll need to turn this down because I might start yelling. Once more, here we go. We're coming up on 1 minute 20, T-minus 1 minute 20. All right. Watch for the cloud. right, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nothing, unfortunately. All right. So 8:33 has blasted past. It is now 8:34. We'll probably get a new T-minus soon. So it looks like the rocket is standing independently. Okay, we're going. We're going. We're going. It's going. It's going. It's going. It's going. Oh, okay. It's hovering. It's hovering. It's hovering. It's hovering. It's gone. It's gone. Oh, no. It didn't go. There wasn't sufficient thrust to actually keep it up. It slid straight off the pad. There wasn't sufficient thrust. That tells me that's the thrust. There's the sound. There's the sound. Unfortunately, it went sideways. I believe that's the end of the Eris rocket. We have a cloud, and that's the end. So that tells me that the way the rocket reacted, there was insufficient thrust available for it to actually launch off the pad. It was enough for it to release, but it wasn't enough for it to actually get to orbit. So, yeah, so what we've got now is we've got the aftermath of a failed mission. Congratulations to Gilmour Space for the attempt. Congratulations to everyone for giving it a try. Look, it is a sad day at the moment. However, these things are... They are covered in sensors, like a lot of sensors. And basically what that means is that, that they'll get all that data and they will be able to analyze the data and find out exactly what went wrong, how it went wrong, and if they'll find out exactly what to do better next time. So just to recap really quickly, the rocket went up slightly. There was insufficient thrust. It kind of wandered sideways. And what you can see now is the steam at the top there and the black. That black smoke is what is left of the rocket. So the rocket didn't actually work at all. It was good sounds though, good sounds. However, it has been an absolute failure.
Oh my, Josh's commentary, amazing. Thank you so much, Aussienaut, for these live views. If you're just joining us, a launch failure has occurred. Gilmour Space has attempted to launch the Eris rocket for the first time. They did get off the pad higher than the vehicle in height, and then unfortunately it did look like there was a thrust issue. It slid to the side before coming back down. I would say one of the positives to take away from this, the pad is likely in safe condition because it slid so far to the side, but unfortunately not what you would want to see for a first flight. You would hope that it would make it further there than it did here today, but they did clear the pad at least. That is a first step forward, and like we say and see with all the test flights of other vehicles, it's the data that they need to get to improve and to be back out on the pad. I would doubt to say that we see them this year. This will be next year at the earliest, but it is quite the scene there of those clouds billowing from where the vehicle did crash there just beside the launch site. If you're just joining us, you're looking at live views from the Bowen Orbital Spaceport. Thanks to Josh, the Aussienaut, down in Australia for providing these live views and allowing us to use these for today's broadcast, but unfortunately a launch failure has occurred. With that, we are going to wrap up our live coverage here for today. We're going to send you on over to our 24/7 ISS stream where you can listen into live station-to-ground communications. Stay tuned to our social media. We'll post any updates that we hear from Gilmour Space, and stay tuned here on YouTube for the recap clips and any other clips that we're able to receive from Gilmour Space of today's flight attempt. But unfortunately, Eris Flight Test 1 has ended in a launch failure. If it was your first time here, though, my name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here at the Launchpad Network. Here at TLP, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together. Make sure you join us over on the Discord, subscribe here on YouTube, and we will see you next time, because space is better together. Goodbye, and good luck, Gilmour Space.